Jira without borders. How can you sync issue data across company borders with Backbone? I'm Matthias. I'm product manager for Backbone, and I work at K15T. We are an Atlassian verified vendor, and we do all sorts of add-ons. We have more than 8,000 installations of our add-ons in the marketplace. Most of our add-ons are Confluence-based. You might know the Scroll product family. You might not know. That's even, then you have to talk to us in order to get to know it. Yeah, but now, today, I want to talk about Jira. Who is using Jira? I guess everyone probably here in this talk. Okay, you're using a double. Okay. When we talk about Jira, or when we look at how companies introduce Jira into their business, often it starts like a small team is starting with Jira, maybe the software development team. They start using it for the projects, for bug tracking, for issue tracking, whatever it is. And then more and more people want to have a look at, oh, what is the software development team doing? Maybe they just want to have a look into the project, into the progress, what is going on. Maybe they want to start using it for their own processes in order to track the progress of the tasks there. And eventually, maybe the whole company is then using it, like the HR for the HR processes, financing, finance control. So for all the different topics which are there. And so all these people work within one Jira, and Atlassian identified also these different use cases. And as you probably know, they created the different versions: Jira Software, Jira Service Desk, Jira Core. I think I would probably have to change the logos in this presentation, but yeah, they are still the old ones here. So in order to really address like specific needs of these teams, Jira Software, you know, the sprints and the boards. Jira Service Desk, more really the specific view, for example, for the customer and the SLAs, and basically Jira Core for everything else. So all these people can now work within one Jira. They can, depending on the permissions, of course, see the progress of the others. They can just like nicely work integrated within the company. But what happens if an external team is coming? An external team wants to work together with you in some project. How do you solve this problem? So there are various number of solutions. You could, for example, simply provide access to your Jira. If your Jira is in the internet, you could just like provide access to it, take care of the permissions, maybe want to introduce some permission schemes in order to that they are only see what they're allowed to see. But that might be not the ideal solution for you. Maybe you don't want to put it in the internet. You don't want to care about all the permission stuff. You don't want to show like everything of this one ticket to your partner. Maybe you want to keep it separated somehow. Could be a solution for you, but maybe not the ideal one. Another option could be, why don't we like use the Atlassian's cloud offerings, just rent a shared cloud instance for this one project we are doing together, and work together there. Also works for some people. Like you can use this instance. You don't really have to care about all your other projects that the permissions are right, but you have to deal like with your internal team has to work in two Jiras, like in the internal one and the external one. For the other company probably as well. So it might not be the ideal solution if you also think about, in the cloud, how do we make backups there? We have to take care of the stuff there as well. Might be a solution for you, or maybe not. Third option, you could also simply manually replicate it. Yes, you could export your tickets in your Jira into an Excel, CSV file, whatever, send it over via email to your other company, and they import it manually. And yes, believe it or not, but a lot of companies work like that. I also work like this because it just works. It works with every system. You exchange data about tickets with your customers, with your partners. But of course, that's not what we want to talk about. The number 4 solution here is you could also just use a synchronization solution. Synchronization so that like our internal teams, they can work in their Jira. They can use their processes, their fields, everything like works as usual as for all the other projects. And the external team, they can just keep working in their Jira, and they don't have to switch to your Jira as well, which also helps them in order to integrate together and to integrate into your workflow basically as well. And of course, in this talk, I want to talk about backbone issue sync for Jira, how we do the synchronization in here. We have different points here that on the same page with Backbone. We want to sync issues automatically, obviously. You can define, you're in complete control of all your data. You can define which issue types you want to synchronize. If you want to map like different issue types to each others, or which fields you also want to synchronize. So if you want to say, maybe I only want to synchronize the summary and description to the other side and not all the other fields because they're my internal ones. You can also identify, specify if you want to synchronize comments or attachments, maybe in both directions, maybe only unidirectional. So there are a lot of configuration options. Workflow without borders. We also allow you to synchronize your workflows so that you don't have to have the same workflow on both sides. You can have different workflows and then react on status changes on the one side so that it also changes the status on the other side. That's basically up to your configuration then.
So that's
you have a question?
Synchronizing states is not workflows.
It's synchronizing the states, yeah. It's not the workflow configuration behind it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Also, just feel free to ask questions. If you have one, just do it. Fast lift off, yeah, no scripting needed. Scripting is great sometimes, or you can do whatever you want, but you also have to administer and take care of all the scripts yourself. Here in Backbone, we really put a lot of effort into our UI to make it as simple as possible in order to allow you an easy configuration for still a complex topic synchronization. You can have a look for yourself afterwards in the demo. And trusted and proven, we have more than 400 active installations. We started only in the marketplace last year, but Backbone is already in production for several years at some big automotive companies here in Germany, where we started at Volkswagen and Bosch. And they're using it in production for quite a long time then. We have different scenarios how you can use Backbone. Maybe you think of your own scenario as well. We have, for example, one of the standard use cases would be you can connect Jira Service Desk and Jira so that you have maybe a first level team. They work in Jira Service Desk. They contact with, your customer. And for some tickets, they might need help by a second level. So they could just apply some condition to the field, to the issue. For example, a label, I need second level help. And as soon as the label is there, it will synchronize over to the second level instance. And then your developers in the second level instance could answer the questions or help on this ticket. Connect suppliers, it will just be like here, you connect your suppliers, your partners, you want to do projects together, just this external team use case I illustrated here. Or having a public and private view. That's also how we ourselves use Backbone as well. For our product projects, we are having a public Jira project where you can vote on the issues and you can comment on the issues. And we are also having an internal Jira project where we have all our tasks in there, maybe some cleanup tasks which we don't want to share with you. So you can also just have a public-private view. A lot of our customers also use it like having an instance in a DMZ, so in a neutral zone, which is reachable from the internet, and maybe just having an internal Jira instance behind the firewall. You can tell us about your scenarios. We're keen on hearing it just after the talk or during Summit. We're always happy to hear new ones. But I think now let's have a demo. Let's really have a look at how does it feel to use Backbone. No. For the demo, you can see basically the internal Jira for this use case is always identified by the blue bar on top. And we have this, I think it's turquoise, this greenish color on top. That's basically for the external team. So you can always identify it by the different colors. So if we go here to our Jira, we can just create an issue in our first project, in the internal one. We provided with some details. Yeah, set the priority, also attach file. And we create the issue. Then we can see, okay, here's the issue, the created one. And if we move over to the partner side, to the external one, in this use case, we can see that there's no issue right now. That's because, like, in this configuration, I set it up so that only issues with the label sync should be synced over to the other side. So not every new issue, and you can like specify a complete JQL what you want to do there. So if we move on here, we can now add this label, which completes our sync condition. Add it, and as soon as we move over to the other side, the issue is now finally there. We can see the description we provided, also the attachment. We can see a different priority here, for example. We selected low on the other side, now it's highest. I will show you in the configuration why that's the case, for example.
Is that the only trigger for synchronization? I mean, the label you put there?
Basically, the trigger is up to you. You can specify a JQL. I will show you in the configuration. And this JQL just meets whatever criteria you can define with JQL. We just chose a basic one here for the demo, just provide a label, but you can do it whatever is suitable for you. Some people just say, oh, only in some workflow states we want to synchronize it. So that's also what you can specify.
Okay,
yeah.
Is the sync real time or is it polling every X number?
It's polling right now, yeah. So it's polling every 5 seconds by default, which is just performing a JQL in order to detect the changes and then moving it over. If it's like often, most of the customers leave it in this interval because it will not really generate that high load because the query is often just like some issues in there. It depends on the load of the project, but yeah. And it almost feels like real time for the other side, yeah. So if we now move on here and make some change, we, for example, put it to in progress. We make a change in the description as well. We're in the external Jira right now, so we change it on the other side. We can also provide a comment here that we actually made the changes. And if we move over to the other side and refresh this page as well, we can see that the status changed here as well. I show you in the configuration afterwards. We mapped in progress to in progress, and we can also see that the comment is in here. You realize that it is another user, maybe like on the Thomas Walker commented on the other instance, and here the backbone sync user added the comment. This is actually often you don't have different user bases, and so you cannot really create the comment as the other user. And this is why we chose this comment enrichment, that's how we call it, so that you can still see who on the other side actually added the comment, because you might want to pick up the phone and call him, but so you can still see all the details in there. Additionally, here is a little panel which we add. This panel basically contains a status. The status shows up to date, or as soon as I modify it, it will switch to pending. So pending means all the changes are currently being synced to the other side. And if it's successfully applied on the other side, it will have up to date again, or hopefully not the error state. But if something goes wrong, you also can see here like it's the error status.
Is that using a regular Jira listener behind the scenes for changes to events that then would happen?
For the
So
synchronization?
an event and then the listener says, oh, I've got to synchronize.
Not right now. Right now we do a polling in the background.
Like
yeah.
Once a minute or something?
Yeah, every 5 seconds basically right now. Yeah. But for the events, like Backbone is able, I can show you I have a slide with some technical details afterwards. And I'll come back to your point with the polling as well. Yeah. Thank So speaking about this panel, you also have the issue key of the other side. So if you have access to the other Jira instance, you can just click on this link and land in the other instance. Of course, you have to authorize, but this is also what you can use and don't have to use there. Let's move to the configuration. Here in this example, I just create the new project, which we just used before. This project uses a workflow just like to do in progress and review done. You will see that the next project which we'll create will use another one just to illustrate it. So here, we have the to-do in progress done, the very simple workflow. And now we have two workflows, two projects, two empty ones. If you want to set up Backbone, you simply go to the project administration. And in the project administration, you find the integrations entry. And now you can create a new integration here. New integration in Backbone, it's always project-based. So you can integrate one project with another project. This other project can be on the same instance or on different instances usually. And we have here two different configuration models. We have the centralized configuration where you configure everything in one Jira instance. And this one Jira instance connects to the other Jira instance via the Jira REST API. Or we have a distributed configuration model where you have you can configure Backbone on both parts, and this can even communicate then via email or file shares to the other instance, which enables it to work behind firewalls. So even if there's a firewall in the middle and both Jiras cannot reach each other, they can still talk via emails to each other, for example. But usually, if it's possible, I'd recommend the centralized configuration use case. That also gives you a better usability. After creating the project, we basically see, I think I just jumped over part of my video, but we were prompted basically for the base URLs, which you can see now here. It's the same, not the same, it's localhost 8080 and localhost 8090 for this demo. This is what we just entered in the step before, which I skipped. And we have here a sync user. Basically, Backbone needs a technical user on both sides in order to detect changes and also in order to make changes. This technical user is just a plain Jira user, but you shouldn't use it for making changes on your own because Backbone will not detect them. Backbone will synchronize all the changes which are done by all the users but himself. So in order to avoid endless loops, if we would also synchronize our own changes, we would have to do quite a lot of work. So we better not do it. You can also see here a summary of some permissions. Like these users have now all permissions. You can see green or red dots there, which are grouped into several categories. These categories are based on, for example, if you want to synchronize attachments, of course, you have to have the attachments rights. But if you don't want to sync them, then you don't need the rights, obviously. If we now start configuring it, we have here various tabs. We start with the issue type mapping. For the issue type mapping, you can use our suggestions dialog and just tick off what you want to synchronize in both directions, bug to bug, task to task. You can select the directions, maybe a bit fast. And in here, in this limit issues window, you can specify an additional JQL query. That's just what I mentioned before. So you can say only if the label is sync, it should be synchronized. But you can specify here now your own condition. Only if my special custom fields have these values, I want to start the synchronization. So there you can use complete JQL. After specifying how you want to synchronize the issue types, you can actually move over to the field mappings. In the field mappings, we have a warning box here which tells us, oh, we need required fields. For example, description might not be a required field, but maybe the summary. And as soon as we add these ones, they're also gone. We also have additional options for the field mappings. So you can select here, for example, for the versions, what we do in this example. You can specify mapping, and you can also select some additional options. For the versions mapping, we have this option that we automatically create the version on the other side if it's not existing, which is often helpful if you create a new version on project A, but it's not there on project B. Custom fields, like which are defined by Jira itself, like which you create via the user interface, they are all supported. For the add-ons, we don't support all of them, obviously, but we support quite a variety of them, and if you need any other add-on, just let us know. So in this example, we just take off the missing versions here. In the next tab here, we have the default values. You might remember that we selected the lowest priority on the one side, but it was the highest on the other side. And this is just because we specified, we didn't map the priority field, but we specified here a highest priority mapping. So it always defaults to highest for this example. Of course, you can make up maybe some more useful default values for your own, just in order to illustrate it. In the workflow mapping, we have put a lot of effort into our new workflow mapping editor in order to make it as simple as possible to map different workflows to each other. So here you can actually select, if I receive some status from the one side, what should happen on my side. So to do should be to do, in progress, done. So you can really map the statuses how you want to have them. In the background, we still need to follow all the transitions. So it's not possible that we directly set a status, but we basically choose for you the transitions, or we try to do it. If you still want to have the complete control over which transitions are taken, we have still an advanced view where you can modify it in more detail, but then it's a little bit more work. In the comments section, of course, you can enable the comments bidirectional, only unidirectional. You can switch off this enriched mapping option in order to also see the comment author name. That's what I showed you with the Thomas Walker thing inside the comment body. So in order to still see the user information on the other side. Also for the attachments, you can obviously select the direction, select some further options like size limitations, just as you wish. And of course, we also have some advanced options. I won't talk about them now in this talk, but you can approach me and I'm happy to talk about them later. After you're done with the configuration, you can publish the draft and start your integration. And that's basically the whole configuration which we needed for this use case. You can configure it just going through these steps, and then you're good to go. I hope it also seems easy to you. At least that's the feedback we got from some customers, that, hey, it is a complex topic, but your UI helped us in order to really configure it. I want to sum up with some technical details, just about more architecture-wise. We have a wide variety of Jira versions compatibility. Like we're starting with 6.3 and up to, we're not really 7.5 compatible yet, marked in the marketplace, but it will be just in the next days. We don't see any problems there right now. You have to install Backbone on both sides in both Jira versions. And then you can just synchronize it here. For cloud and server, you just also have to install Backbone on both sides. And Backbone will, you can set up all the configuration on the server side, and it will connect to the cloud. We don't have cloud-to-cloud yet publicly available, but we'll do our beta just beginning of October. So if you're interested in cloud-to-cloud synchronization, let us know, and we'll see if we can get you in the beta program. And back to your question, you can also synchronize without installing Backbone on this side, but you just then need a special license which we cannot distribute via the marketplace then, because obviously we cannot license something which is not installed there. But just you can contact us in order to get a license on this other side, which you install there, so that it may talk to a Jira where no backbone is installed. That's the distributed scenario, which I mentioned. So if you have a firewall in the middle which blocks off your Jira REST API, you can still synchronize with each other. We are doing it via email or file exchange, like you might have a common file exchange, or probably emails go through your firewalls. So backbone will send an email to the other backbone with all the changes. Yeah, we also have here some prices for you. These are the prices which are in the marketplace also available. You can look it up there. And as the last thing, I want to show you as a little sum up.
If you're planning a new project or product, Jira is the right tool for the job because it's so flexible. It adapts to every stage, from the initial idea to the implementation, including revisions and improvements, and even support. But things can get challenging when project collaborations extend to other departments and companies that work in different Jira systems. It's a bit like a couple that wants to synchronize their shopping lists to help them work together more easily and effectively. But it's not always good if everyone can see everything. Backbone synchronizes different Jira systems so partners can work with the same information at the same time. Each can stay in their own familiar environment with complete control over their workflows and processes. You decide what types of information are synchronized with the other system and who gets to see what. Backbone's intuitive user interface makes it all simple and easy to do. Automatic synchronization between separate Jira systems while having complete control and full data security. That's Backbone. Collaborate on projects in ways you never thought possible. Backbone Issue Sync, Jira without borders. By K15T Software.
So that's just as a little sum up what you heard in the talk. If you have any additional questions, I'd say just approach me after the talk. Then people who want to go to the next talk can already do this. Thank you, and I'm here for your questions then still.